What's up everybody, it's Paul from Boosted Films, and in this video we're going to change the engine air filter and cabin air filter on this 2019 Subaru Ascent. So we're going to start with the cabin air filter on this one, and just the quick version of this is it's the behind the glove box version. So all we're really doing is dropping down our glove box, removing a cover, and then pulling out our cabin air filter. But of course we're going to go in all the details here step by step if you need them. So move your seat back to give you a little bit extra room, take anything that's in your glove box out of your glove box, and then we're going to direct our attention to the right side of the glove box here, where there is this arm that's kind of a soft open that makes this open slowly. And you should be able to apply pressure on that and bring it towards the outside of the car. It should just kind of snap off. You'll hear it pop free. And the next step is to kind of squeeze these inner pieces here to get this to drop down all the way. There's some protruding parts holding it up yet. So we're going to lift up a little bit, squeeze inward, and then this is going to slide down. And then there are two kind of hinges on the bottom that these hinge onto, but that should just lift off and you can pull your glove box completely out of the way. Now that we're down behind where our glove box was, you just got to pinch these two little pieces on this cover, and then that should release the cover, and that will expose your cabin air filter. And there's an up designation on this cover too, which it's pretty easy to sort out, but it's good that it's there. So here, this white piece is our cabin air filter. This one does say up with an up arrow on it. However, we're going to touch on that later. So that should just pull out pretty easily. Just be careful though, if there's a lot of debris on top of the filter, try to make sure it stays on top of the filter and doesn't fall down into your blower motor. So of course I want to compare my old filter to my new filter here. So here is our new cabin air filter. So we're going to take that out of the box and then just make sure it's about the same size, same height, same width, same depth, all that stuff before we go to try to reinstall it. Probably comes with some directions, but that's what you're probably watching this video for anyway. So, and again, talking about airflow direction, the other one said up, this one says airflow. So we're actually not going to point the arrow up on this one because the airflow direction is down. So that's something to pay attention to, especially if you're going OEM versus aftermarket. Sometimes on the Subarus, it seems like they come OEM, air filters just say up on them, whereas most of the aftermarket air filters give you airflow direction. And on this particular setup, a lot of these behind the glove box setups, the airflow direction is actually down. So we're going to install it that way. So here we go back under where the glove box is. You can see I have that airflow direction down. And then we're going to have to give this a little bit of a spin because it is wider one way than the other. So we're going to spin it and slide it in, and then it kind of pushes up a little bit. This one kind of seals mostly towards the top. So that's how that one sits in. It should be pretty easy. It should just slide right in. Here's a tighter shot showing how that actually sits in there and kind of how it should look. And also we're going to pay attention up top here. There are two little spots where that cover is going to slide in place. So we're going to pay attention to those two because of course our next step is reinstalling our cover. So I'm just shining a light up here to show you a better view of those two places where it's going to slide in, where that cover will slide in. That's the first step to reinstalling the cover. You're just going to want to make sure those pieces slide in where that cover goes. And then it should really just push on and you'll hear it snap in place. So a gentle push and it will lock in place. And that's about it. It's pretty simple. You've actually successfully changed your cabin air filter. But of course, we've got to put our glove box back in place. So here's just one final look at the cover reinstalled appropriately. But then our glove box has, the two hinges on it. So we're going to put those hinges back in place. We're going to set it up on the bar that it kind of holds onto. And then you can just kind of lift this right up in place if you want, or you can re-squeeze a little bit. Again, you can see the part that's protruding. You just squeeze it enough to get it up in place. Of course, you don't want to go too far yet because we've got to reattach that soft open arm that's on the right side. So now we're back on the right side of the glove box. We're going to lift it up just a little bit and then line this up, and you should just be able to gently push it back on and you'll hear it kind of snap in place. And there you have it. Once it snaps in place, you should be able to open and close your glove box again, and it should work just like it should. This particular glove box on the left side seems like you had to give it a little extra push to have it seal up, hold up all the way, but might just be Subaru things. But otherwise, you're pretty much all set. Put anything back in your glove box that you took out of your glove box, put your seat back where it was, and you have successfully changed your cabin air filter. But of course, we're going to move on to the engine air filter and show you how to change that too. So now we've moved over to the driver's side of the car, and we're going to pop our hood. So but down by the driver's side footwell, there's this little designation that shows you how it opens the hood. So you grab the latch and pull it towards you. Your hood will pop open. And then to release this safety latch that's under the hood, you need to slide your hand in just above that Subaru symbol. And then you'll see this little piece that you need to slide over to the left here. And then that will release the safety hook and your hood should lift up. There's a prop rod on the left side that I'm grabbing now. You grab that prop rod and pull it out of the little piece that it's held into. If you grab the soft foam part, that's not supposed to be as hot. If you're doing this while your engine's hot, that's why that little soft foam piece is there. And then you can see this part of the hood where there's a little hole for your prop rod to hold your hood up. So you should be able to just set it in there and then set your hood down. So this is where our engine air filter is in this box on the side of the screen here. It splits into two, that air box splits into two, and these two hooks are what hold it in place. So I just released those two hooks, and then this kind of hinges, this air box kind of hinges on the bottom. So I was able to just hinge it away, or towards the firewall of the car, I guess. And then I was able to lift up the old engine air filter. So it's pretty nice, pretty easily serviceable here that you can just push it away a little bit and lift up your air filter and pull it out of place. So just like the cabin air filter, of course, I like to check and make sure the engine air filter that we bought is the same height, width, and depth of the one we removed, so we're not fighting any battles here. I will say this one that came maybe seemed a little bit bigger than the one I took out, and also these are a weird shape where they're not exactly square. It's a little bit wider on one way than the other. So I'm going to show you the wrong way right away. So if you try to put it in the tall way, lift the tall way up like this, you can tell it just actually does not fit. It just won't clear. So you got to give that a spin. You're kind of going to install this the short way, if you will, if that makes any sense. And then you should be able to set it down in place. And what I found worked good for this one is to try to push this black part of that filter into this part of the air box that I'm pressing up against. And that way it kind of would fit in there a bit easier. Again, this one felt a little bit big, a little bit of a tight squeeze. So here's just a little better shot, again, showing you what I mean by pushing that black piece in, and then you should be able to basically close it up, squeeze it. And you're just going to take those hooks or whatever they're called to latch it back in place. So once those two pieces are squeezed back in place, you should be able to get those hooks on. If you're fighting a big battle, maybe double check things and make sure that air filter's in there as it should be. And here you can see kind of how it should sit. Part of that is broken on this one, of course, but that's just the way it is. But you can see it's sitting nice and flush like it should. Also, if there's any big debris in that air box, you can take a look in there and look and see if there's any big debris. You can take that out too before you put it in your new filter. And now we just got to close our hood. So we're going to lift up our hood, take our prop rod out of place. You're going to snap it back in where it goes, down just above the headlight. And then we're going to hold up our hood just a couple inches and then let it drop down, or just give it a little extra push. Make sure it locks in place. So that's about it for this video, guys. If you want to use the exact filters I used in this video, you can check out the video description of links in there if you want to buy these exact filters. But of course, use whatever filters you want. It doesn't matter to me. You can buy OEM ones if you want to do exactly what the Subaru dealer would do. You can buy OEM. Also, I'm just a guy on the internet that likes to film things I do. So if I did something wrong, if there's a better way of doing something, please leave a comment, let me know, or check the comment section for any potential updates or better ways of doing things. And of course, if this helped you out and you want to return the favor, a like or a thumbs up or a subscribe always helps out the channel. So of course, all those things are helpful. But also, if this particular job was very similar for you, but maybe you have a little different year Subaru or a different model. Maybe yours wasn't the turbo model. Let me know if this same procedure worked the same for you, because that would be helpful as well to other people. Then they could just check the comments and make sure this exact same procedure worked for their specific vehicle. But as always, this is Paul from Boosted Films saying thanks so much for watching.